Everyone, welcome. I'm attempting to, yeah, there it is. That latency is crazy on Instagram. Okay. Hello, everyone. I am now live on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. I think that's it. Okay. So it's Thursday, and many moons ago, I made a decision to do Q&As on Thursdays, and then I wasn't consistent. And while that may not be a surprise to me, I still want to get back on it because I do enjoy being able to ask questions. So, welcome, Kelly Kells. What's up? Hello, KCDX06. Please, y'all, just put a question in the chat. Unfortunately, due to this being live on my eCam, I can't bring you on. So, what I normally do on Instagram Live is I will bring you on. What's up, Claire? I will bring you on the camera and you can ask me live because I love to have a conversation so I can ask the questions in real time in case I need clarification. But as a mindset coach, one of the things that I think I get the questions most about, just to give you context, if you're over on Facebook, if you're anywhere, is, like, what do I do about this person in my life who just doesn't get it? Whatever get it is, like they're not with your business, they're not with your new mindset, they're not on the same plan, trajectory, etc. as you are. Sometimes it's dealing with a difficult, unfavorable situation. I don't like my job anymore and I don't want to go in, but I know I need it to be able to put food on the table or to be able to fund my business or whatever the case is. It might be that you're not seeing the results as fast as you would like in certain areas, situations, conditions. Maybe it could be anything. So you can type a question in the chat. Hey, Mr. Chess Moves. Interesting name. Hello. Put your question in the chat. No question is too crazy. Everything is mindset. Everything, every area, because it all stems from our beingness, okay? And that's really what I want to get to, is everyone understanding that you make the rules and you're losing because you're not allowing yourself to win. And so I want to help you move yourself out of the way so that there's an influx of flow, just an absolute avalanche and waterfall into your life of good, more good, and all good. Since I've made these shifts personally, I've found that the things that when they do happen, when situations do occur, because life does come sometimes with moments that are undesirable, unfavorable, just not what we wanted. Hey, some random dude. Hey, malleable mindset. Whoever's still here, I appreciate you. When things have happened that I didn't want in my life, because life, that happens sometimes in life, then I found I'm handling it so much more like a speed bump than in the past, where it would maybe derail a train, or it would be like a mountain and it would seem insurmountable. And so just by making these shifts in my life, I've been able to attract lots of money. I've been able to have better relationships. I've been able to have the most amazing, occurrences, situations, and I want these same things for all of you. And it starts with sometimes unlearning some things that we've been taught by even our well-meaning mentors and their understanding. And while they have led us to a portion of our journey to the mountaintop, and for some of us that may just be good enough, and that's fine, I want to help you get there faster with less energy, right? I was just having a conversation with a mentor of mine the other day, and he was talking about the difference between speed versus velocity. And I don't know if I said this on here, so I apologize if I'm repeating this, because I did a live earlier in the week, I think, on Tuesday, I think. But, oh no, I'm frozen on Instagram. Okay, I don't know what that was, but okay. Oh, it seems like there was just a little bit of issue. But anyway, speed versus velocity. So speed is going fast. Velocity is the energy you're using and the speed. So in other words, with velocity, we want to learn how to use less energy and go. Maybe we won't go as fast, but we will not use so much energy, because a lot of us are burnt out, tired, overwhelmed, just absolutely kind of done on all the things that we feel like we need to do to get to where we want to go. okay? And I want to help you understand that there's a lot less heavy lifting in the physical and a lot more just making some shifts in your understanding of things that will help you close the gap between where you are and where you want to be much faster, much easier, much more seamlessly and effortlessly than you've ever been taught before. But of course, most people don't maybe want to believe that. And our core beliefs, our assumptions, our ideas about ourselves, the world, and others is what is getting in the way, okay? And so if you are somewhere on any of the other places as far as Instagram, Facebook, whatever, make sure you just leave a comment or something so that I can see your comment. I don't know why. Someone was actually there the other day and it left a message, but it didn't actually let me do that. So hello everyone, say hi. Okay, so it's not going to work on Instagram. Actually, you have to directly type hi everyone on IG. Okay, so I have to type on IG. Let's see, it was typing backwards when it first came out, but it didn't before. So anyway, I'm a mindset coach. I've worked with premier athletes from professional, from elite levels, all the way down, high school and then up back to the pros. And I've worked with, high-level entrepreneurs. Hey, Ricarte Rivera, how are you? Thank you for saying hi. That way I know you're there. And today I'm just ask a question, even if it's not really a question you have anymore, but a question you had on your path, because it'll help someone else. What's a question that you had about mindset, about manifestation, about creation, about sort of just getting from where you are to where you want to be that has been or was a difficulty for you along the way? Okay, so don't be afraid to type it in there. Diverse Learning. I don't know if that is, I feel like I know who that is. Hey, Shimi Shante. Anyone who's here on Instagram, thank you. Anyone here who's here on Facebook, thank you. I really love this. Okay, so I can add it to the broadcast. So isn't that cool? I can put that on there because I'm using Ecamm instead of Instagram alone. So I can say, hey, everybody, look, Ricarte said hi. So isn't that cool that I can do that? Okay, and I can also put my own hi on the screen. Like, there it is. Hello, everyone. Say hi. It is incredibly small on my screen, but anyway, hopefully you guys saw that over on Instagram. So that's pretty cool that I can do that. And so if you put a question in, I can highlight it and then answer it, and everybody can see your question. Of course, on Instagram, normally we can pin it. Of course, if it is on Instagram, I won't be able to pin it. I won't be able to add it because Instagram only gives us limited function. But before, we couldn't even go live on Instagram. So I'm grateful for that. Hey, Yvonne Kambe. It's a long time. Hello. How are you? Okay. So I'll just give myself a question until you guys give questions in advance. So one of the number one questions I get as a mindset coach is, hey, I've leveled up. I've changed my mindset. But this person, and I'm just going to say my mom, my sister, my brother, my cousin, my dad, my significant other isn't quite there. They're too negative. They're always down on themselves. What do I do about that? Thank you, Claire. I'll get to your question in just a moment. And so I want to say that it is so important, okay? It is so important to recognize that everyone is exactly where they're supposed to be. Okay, so our job, even though we think it is to bring everybody with us, is not true. Okay, now they are also a reflection of you. Now, they're not necessarily a reflection of your belief, like your where you're at. So you're like, no, I don't believe that anymore. That's not me. So when you say that they're a reflection, sometimes people get caught up on that. I don't believe that. I'm not like that. I don't talk like that anymore. That's not who I am. Well, yes, that is true. And they could be a reflection because in the old days, right, you did believe those things, but also you believe something about them. Okay, so they're reflecting your belief about them, which is they'll never change. They're always been this way. They always will be this way, right? So we have to change our assumptions about others as well. So for example, I had a session with a coach a few weeks ago, and I have also I believe my clients often reflect me or a version of me that maybe existed in the past. And so one of the things that I've been challenged with at times is hanging out in groups of people and we're all having a good time. And then somebody wants to talk about something that I would deem not, not positive, right? Like, hey, did you hear about that terrible thing that happened in that place? And this terrible thing happened, right? And I don't ever sometimes I'm like, well, we were all having a good time. We're all having a good conversation. And then here comes somebody with a negative, just injecting a negative story into the good time. And so in the past, I've had difficulty with that. So I had a coaching session because I have a coach. And I asked my coach, well, when that happens, I don't want to be judging others, but I feel like I shut myself down, or I feel like I have to not be present in the situation to be able to sort of navigate it. In the past, I also would try to change, like, why do you got to bring that up? Like, we're all having a good conversation, but I don't want to do that either. And so he pointed out to me that as long as I believe that some people don't get it, that's reflected in my reality. I was just like, some people just don't get it. They just want to talk about negative stuff. And so if you've ever railed against, if you've ever felt like you needed to point that out, if you've ever gotten frustrated by other people sort of showing up a certain way and then felt like you needed to speak to that, or it just confirmed an inner belief that you had that the world just doesn't get it, well, you're going to constantly interact with that. Does that make sense? It's going to show up in your reality because it's a version of pushing against. And what we give attention to, it grows, right? Focus, attention, where attention goes, focus, it grows, right? So we want to be mindful of that. So in other words, it doesn't mean we have to do anything. We allow them to go in the flow of where they're going. If people want to have that conversation, you can put your attention elsewhere. And you also want to double down on what your belief is, what your assumption, standing in your knowing that everybody gets it. Everybody's waking up. Everyone's getting this stuff. Does that make sense? Put a 1 in the comment if anything I said in that little story, example, diatribe was helpful for you or made any sense, okay? So thank you so much. That's the first question I wanted to pop off. And if you have any further questions about that, feel free to type them in the chat. Okay, so Claire, I can't highlight your comment. Thank you so much. Oh, I can pin it though. I can pin it on Instagram. I can't unfortunately take it to both broadcasts. So I'm going to read it out loud for my folks over on Facebook, because Instagram, once again, doesn't let us do all the things that the other platforms, when you go live to multiple platforms, does. Okay, so Claire says, how do you overcome this inclination to believe what is seen? Believe based on what is seen, okay? Absolutely excellent question. Excellent question, Claire. And that is probably one of the biggest things that we also are faced with, which is, hey, I am affirming that I'm wealthy, that things are changing for me, that person loves me, that I'm going to get that job, that they wanted to hire me when I walked out of that interview. But I'm not seeing that reflected in my reality currently. Now, the first thing we want to get clear on is we need to change some beliefs that we've had around reality. Okay, so that out there, anything out there, right? There's a thing that says there is no out there. Okay, so in other words, anything out there is coming from you. You are the source, right? Because you are an emanation of God, right? So we want to say, if I'm the source, right? And everything springs from me, right? Like the mouth of the river or whatever you want to say, then what is it that I want about what's going on out there? So I can choose to use anything. And then our awareness is what we're giving attention to. So if I'm saying I am wealthy, let's say you've been affirming you're wealthy or that you're successful or whatever it is, right? And then you're like, but it's not reflecting on my bank account. It's not showing up on the balance sheet, so I don't know. Is that, well, you're not, so we want to stand in the knowing that it's already done, okay? So whatever's out there is just an illusion. It's not important. It's not making that more important. So you can observe it. You can be in reality. It's not that I'm asking you to live in some sort of cocoon state where you're just like, I'm not going out of the house until things change. Because you're not waiting for things to change. You are the change. You don't see, write this down, okay? You don't see reality as it is. You see reality as you are. So who are you being? either you are being the one that has, right? Which would mean that you're not looking for the money, or you're being one who wants the money. And so you're now standing in that state. So if you're choosing a box, like if it says, like remember when they used to send those notes and it was like, will you go out with me or will you be my Valentine? Then check yes or check no. So let's pretend that there's one box that says, am I wealthy? And then one says yes or no. If you're saying yes, then you can't be looking out there for anything. Okay? I see reality as I am. So if I am wealthy, then there is nothing missing here. I'm not waiting for money to show up because I already have it. It'd be like looking for my cell phone while I have my cell phone. That doesn't make any sense, right? I wouldn't be like, I know some of us have been like, had our sunglasses or our glasses on top of our head, like, where are my glasses? And we've actually been with our glasses, or we've been looking for our cell phone and we've been on a call. So yes, we've done those things, and those are all comical examples. But in general, we're not looking to get anywhere while we're already there, right? So if we're already at our house, we're not trying to figure out how to get to our house. So we should not be looking for evidence of anything if we are already there. Does that make sense? So we're not looking for evidence because a great example was a coach that I like on YouTube. He said, if you're already the place, right? And it's like you're trying to look at your own face, right? And not on an Instagram where I can actually see my face, right? Because my camera is reflecting me. But like where you're standing in the world and you're the one giving the light and you're trying to see the light at the same time. So, you can't see that. You can't see that. So you would not be looking for it because you are it. So therefore, you're just someone who's enjoying life. And if you were someone who was going to kind of notice the 3D, the outside world, what is being seen, you're just going to observe all of that as an unfolding where it's catching up to who you are. So you're not worried about it. So no matter what's going on out there, I don't care if it's an eviction notice, if it's a bill, if it's a last minute anything, you're now noticing that as an unfolding. Like it's all just sort of like Steve Jobs had this great quote that says you can't connect the dots looking forward, you can only connect them looking backward. So in other words, if you're already there, the 3D is just you connecting the dots going backwards. Like, oh, I know that happened on the way to me being wealthy was that eviction notice that came, that bill that I got scared. Now here's the other thing. Yeah, your emotions may get triggered during that time while you're already assuming you're wealthy. But there's that logic mind that's going to want to come up and say, yeah, but your bank account. Yeah, and don't be a yeah, butter. I want you to write down today. I want you to write the words yeah, but, and I want you to put a circle around it and put a line through it. I'm not going to be a yeah, butter, but your mind is going to yeah, but. And your job is just to observe it, not to bat it away, not to try to whack-a-mole it, but just to observe there's fear here. There's nervousness here. Hey, Biggie Big, how are you? There's sadness here. There's frustration here. I have my feelings. I don't want you to not have your feelings. And sometimes they might even knock you off your center. You might even start to sort of attach to that. But what we want to do is we want to observe. We don't want to identify with our feelings. So while our emotions, feelings and emotions are two different things. A feeling is just kind of like you're sitting here right now and you're in a state of being here in this state, like in this place watching this live, but you're not necessarily doing cartwheels. You're not necessarily like, woo, 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 showing like outward anything. A feeling is it's just kind of being an isness, right? An emotion is something that's a little bit stronger. Now, anytime you're feeling a negative emotion, that is telling you you're not in alignment with where there's a version of you that is already at the end, already realizing it, right? When God said, I will go ahead and prepare a place for you, it's like, I'm already there, right? And you just need to join me there. But while you're sometimes feeling like you're not there, because that's you starting to observe and start to identify with outward conditions. So you have to go back inward as what's my truth? Who am I really? Because who am I being? And you can reverse engineer when you're off your center, right? So when you're feeling sad, you're starting to believe something about yourself that just isn't true. If it doesn't feel good, it isn't true. It isn't true. And I want you to use true as a true north, not a true, like truth, universal truth, whatever, because technically all truth is an opinion, right? I happen to believe that women's soccer is one of the best sports to watch. I'm sure many people would take issue with that and pick their sport, or some people would say they don't like sports at all and whatever. We're not here to be universally right or agreed with. That's why there's a contrast. That's why there's beauty in all of this. So don't be afraid to say, that's my truth. I don't care what other people's truth are. They don't matter. They're immaterial to my reality because I am my reality. So I'm not looking for anything. I'm looking from the eyes of the one who already has. Okay? Yeah, if it doesn't feel good, it isn't true. All right, so really quickly, just 20-second commercial here. I am doing a masterclass on Tuesdays. If you are interested in being in my masterclass, just type a thing in the chat and I'll send you a DM with the link. It's really brynndrescher.com/webinar. You could go, you could register, you can add it to your calendar so that you can go. It's Tuesday at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern. So if you're interested, join my masterclass. Just wanted to do that 20-second commercial. Thank you for being on this live. Okay, so anybody else have any questions? It doesn't save the chat, so I won't be able to remember if you typed in the live, but you could send, if you write the word, no, I don't want you to write the word challenge, because if you write the word challenge on here, it's going to send you a DM for my challenge. I am doing my challenge again in March, so if you are interested in doing my 5-day challenge, which I recommend, that does cost. The masterclass is free. The challenge is amazing and you should definitely take it. It's 5 days of me teaching this kind of stuff to you and people have made a lot of shifts during that 5-day challenge. So, and it's $97 for general admission and $297 for VIP, which means you get to be on Zoom and you get to ask me questions every day live for an hour. So, for that week. So that's why people really love VIP. But you get the teaching, same information as VIP in the 97 for the hour on Facebook. Okay. So anyway, all right, let's get back to it. Does anyone else have any other questions? Claire, you said you understood. You said that was helpful. Thank you so much. Ricarte, I will definitely drop that. Here, let me put it on the screen. Actually, I can do that. I forgot. I can type. Oh my God. Is it? Yeah. brynndrescher.com/webinar. It might be a clickable link. It might not. I'm going to go ahead and add it to the broadcast so you guys can see it. It didn't. Okay, there you go. And I'm going to add it from Facebook. Okay, cool. So I don't know if you could see it or not, but it's there. Okay. And I'll do it over here on, I'll do it on Instagram, even though I know it. It's not a clickable link, but that is the interest. So just go to that after you get off this live. Go to brynndrescher.com/webinar. You go there, you can register. You could do it right now if you're able to. If you're not on your computer and you're on your phone, you could do that if you were able to, but if you're not, you can register and just grab a spot. It's free and you just add it and we have emails that go out that will remind you and make sure that you show up on Tuesday. All right. So, hey, Simply Steph, how are you? It's been a long time. It's good to see you. Steph did my challenge. She did the 5-day challenge, so she could hopefully sing its praises. I would say she'll tell you about it. I don't want to say that she'd say it was great because I don't want to speak for her. But I think she enjoyed it. She did VIP as well. All right, so I feel like I'm blurry on Instagram or like on my camera today. I don't know if that's true, but I feel like I'm blurry. I'm also using my desktop computer so I can be live on multiple platforms because I'm tired of just going live on Instagram. I do have some people on Facebook, so I'm glad Ricarte can be here today. I hope I'm saying that right, Ricarte Rivera, but some people can't, like it's just like, oh, they're not going to be, everybody has their own way of, consuming content, so I'm doing that, and then I'm just going to make sure I go live on YouTube to maybe gain some followers that might not know about the stuff I do. And yes, I'm doing it in portrait because of Instagram, because I can't go live, and Instagram is my main platform that I usually do stuff, but I am going to start doing more stuff on YouTube and Facebook. So anyway, because I haven't been doing it and I want to be ubiquitous with my content, ubiquitous just means everywhere. Universal. Okay, thanks, Steph. Steph's driving, but she said yes. She said yes with 3 exclamation points. So I think she actually enjoyed the challenge. So there you go. All right, so any other questions that you guys have? Thank you so much, Claire, for your awesome question. I really appreciate you participating there. Just type a question in the chat. Thank you, Ricarte, for saying it's valuable information and that you're interested in the masterclass. So I've gone ahead and I've addressed everything I saw in the chat. One of the other things that has been really helpful for me was this idea that I'm going to give you something else that will be helpful. And it was, is the Mental Advantage your book? Okay, no. So the Mental Advantage is my podcast. There it is. I think let me get my finger in the right place on the screen. The Mental Advantage is my podcast. Have I recorded an episode in over a year? No, but there are 60 something episodes up there, and I do plan to start it again. So it's on there because it's my podcast. I was interviewing, I worked in the world of sports. I've coached a lot of athletes. And so I had the opportunity to coach some, I didn't coach all the people I interviewed, to interview some amazing professional athletes, retired, current, etc., and got an opportunity to ask them questions about sort of like their mental advantage. And it's really just their story, so you can learn a lot from each person. I did a sports psychologist. I think I did 2 sports psychologists. I've done a lot of hockey player, skier, what was the one guy? A fencer. I've done basketball, baseball, football. I've done every sport, you name it, and I've loved having these conversations because I love people's stories. I find myself to be a natural sort of inquisitive person when I meet new people, asking them a ton of questions. And so you're going to learn from their journey of how they picked their sport, what made them continue to go to this premier level and to push themselves through, and how they transitioned out of the sport and how that's difficult. Because I heard this great thing on a podcast the other day I was watching with Sue Bird and Megan Rapinoe, who are a couple, but 2 elite athletes in their own right. Sue Bird is one of, probably the most decorated female basketball player of all time. Or at least in the sense of how many championships she's won and whatever. And then you have Megan Rapinoe, who's done really well with the U.S. women's national team in women's soccer. So you have this power couple. But anyway, the host had said something that I've never said. I've known about it, but the way he said it was perfect, which is an athlete dies twice. The time they have their physical death when they reach the end of their life, and then the time that they reach the end of their sport. And the funny thing is, a lot of people die more than once. And it is when one identity that you're occupying, which is sort of what we're talking about, this idea of being poor, lack, limitation, not having enough, and then you go to this other place of being something different, right? Something you've occupied for so long. So that's why, if you want to know why people don't shift very well, it's because there's so much of them that's wrapped up in who they've always been, or who they've always believed themselves to be. And so when you have people who are wrapped up in that, even if it's something unfavorable, but what's the word? I don't want to say comfortable, but familiar. So when people get something familiar, right? It's like when some people would choose to be poor because they believe, and I hope this isn't like causing issues with the mic because I'm scratching near my collar, but when people would choose to not go into the next phase of their wealth or success because they believe they would lose all their friends or it would mess with their relationship, is because they believe if they make a transition, if they do level up, there's a sacrifice they're gonna do. Okay, and I just want to show that Ricarte asked me about my mental advantage there. I wonder if there's a way for me to make these bigger. There is. Okay, but then it kind of goes. Okay, cool. So anyway, just wanted to show you guys that it's there. All right, so thank you, Ricarte, for that question. Ricarte, not Ricardo. Anyway, just wanted to, make sure that you guys know that each one of those things that, anyway, so that's why there's a grieving. And so everyone goes through a process. So athletes go through it quite significantly because so much of their lives has been wrapped up in one identity, which is being a stellar athlete. And now they're like in this aftermath life, right? And now it's like when Megan Rapinoe called it a NARP, a normal ass regular person. So once you become a normal ass regular person and you're not walking into stadiums and having thousands of people scream your name or be excited that you're there or even boo you, just to have all that energy coming at you, and now you're just sitting in your house, where are you going to get that adrenaline? Where are you going to get that? What's his name? Jason Kelce, who is Travis Kelce's brother. And if you don't know who Travis Kelce is, he's the guy that's dating Taylor Swift. And he also just won the Super Bowl with the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes. But anyway, Jason, his brother, who plays for the Philadelphia Eagles and is probably at the end of his career, is saying, like he knows there's so much of his body that is screaming for retirement, but there's a part of him that doesn't know where he's going to get the juice that he gets from professional sports. And so I would say the most civilian answer I can give for who else goes through this, probably the deepest would be mothers, or parents who have seriously only spent most of their life, or a person who spent most of their life being a caretaker for someone else. So whether it be a sick parent, if it's, taking care of your children for 18 years, a lot of people go through this death of like, well, once the children move out or once the family member passes away, what am I supposed to do now? Because my whole life centered around this. And now I have to, how am I supposed to live and figure out what I want when I haven't really paid attention to me in so long? Or, so you hear this stuff all the time. So that's why identity is so important and why it's one of the 5 pillars of my 8-week program, because it's something that it's the way we're identifying is exactly what's causing a lot of our friction, frustration, overwhelm, resentment, stress, etc. And the way we're also identifying others. Okay. And so if we could change and make those shifts, which are internal shifts, internal awarenesses, suddenly the outside world changes by proxy. Okay. So, hey, Garnett Jr., hello. So thank you guys so much for being here. If I don't have any other questions, I don't know what to ask myself. I mean, I can think of a bunch, I guess, but in general, my promise is to go live more consistently on Thursdays. What I'm going to start working, I have a VA, and so I'm going to start having map out a week. I'm like map out my week, and so maybe I'll have a scheduled time. I don't know how convenient it'll be for you guys because most of you are on the East Coast and I'm on the West Coast, and so it's just whoever can join. And I don't care if it's one of you, if it's 1,000 of you, I'm going to be here and I'm going to show up because I'm no longer identifying as someone who needs those numbers to feel good about myself or whatever the case is. But what I want is for you to come to my masterclass next Tuesday. I'm going to start doing these because I want to promote my challenge. Yes, the only offer on the masterclass is for the challenge, okay? You could schedule a call and go right into my 8-week program. And that's where if you're just ready to level up, you feel like you don't need any more, tasters of Bryn and you just want to go. But, that is an investment that may be more than some people are ready to make. And so if you're more like, let me test it first, the challenge is a great way. But either way, it's money well spent. Money well invested because it's about you. And, obviously people that pay attention. So all that good stuff. All right. So I think that's it. I don't have anything else that I can think of. I was going to give you guys one other bonus, which was about the time. Okay. So time is a construct. Okay, now I know you're saying, yeah, but what time is it now? And yeah, we look at the clock, we look at what the date is, we look at how long we've been doing something, etc. But the only thing that ever exists is the present, is now. We exist in all time. I don't know if you've heard, but time is not linear, right? They talk about all the past and all the future is happening at the same time. And it's just us shifting into these different experiences, realities, whatever the case is. Now, whether I would need you to believe in all of that and alternate realities and whatnot, but what I kind of want you to at least be willing to question, right? Because we've all seen time collapse before. We've all seen things happen that just seem impossible. We've seen things happen that just aren't necessarily explainable. And so what I want you to do is get to a place where you tell yourself that the past and the future don't exist. And I know that you may have a memory of the past, but all memories are imaginal acts. You're actually re-experiencing it in your mind, so conjuring up an image and replaying something or playing it in the present, and your mind doesn't know the difference, right? Because the subconscious is extemporaneous, out of time. It does not experience time in a linear fashion. It doesn't know what time it is, day, night, week, more, whatever. It's more conditioning. So what you're doing is bringing unpleasant pasts into your present to re-experience and live them now. And some of those pasts are not very pleasant. And so one tip that I can give you is that you're remembering it wrong. I'm remembering it wrong. Okay? So in other words, if it's unpleasant, then you're saying I'm remembering it wrong. So you can either say that, okay, and you can create a new version of that past, which is I've always been, just with this statement, I've always been very lucky in love. I've always been wealthy, as long as I can remember, right? And you may have a memory of a time that was not in alignment with this new version of the past, and you're just going to say, oh, that's a different version of me. So that memory doesn't belong to the me that I'm now because I've shifted. Does that make sense? Did that make any sense? I know that's pretty high level, and I'll go into a little bit more of that as I do my deeper teachings in my program. But I need you to get that time is irrelevant to your things happening, because it says, ask and ye shall receive, which means it's instant. So the shift happens instantly. When you say I'm wealthy, you're already in alignment with wealth. But then you're sort of then hopping to the other state of being not wealthy when you decide to remember the other. Okay, so can you remember from the future? Well, that's the thing. There is no future, Ricarte, so which is what I just said. So you could remember from the future. You could go to your future self, and there is a technique that Neville Goddard talks about called I remember when. So you would be saying, for example, this would be putting yourself in a future state if you were to need something to help you with linear time. And so you would say, I remember when I didn't have all this money. I didn't have all this money that I have now. I remember when I was poor. I remember when I didn't have this loving, fulfilling relationship. I remember when there wasn't this building here or this business that I had that's so successful that's brought me lots of money. So you're basically taking your present and putting it into the past, and you're sort of putting your future into the present. So that would sort of be like remembering from the future. But again, we need to get away from linear time as some sort of measure for our future. It really is important, but it's difficult for a lot of us because we're so attached to our outside conditions. We're so attached to what the world says about time. We're so attached to what someone else says, right? Someone else will say, it took me 10 years. So then in your mind, you go, okay, I'm willing to do 10 years. That took that person 10 years. It doesn't mean it's going to take you 10 years. And in fact, I recommend it doesn't take you 10 years, but you want to take time out of it altogether. I'm willing to enjoy myself and to do the things that I enjoy and take the actions I want to take that I believe, right? But the action itself, and I mean, I'm getting kind of into the weeds here, that might be too much for people to consume, but the action itself has no power. It's you that has the power that imbues the action with its effectiveness or its intention. And so a lot of times we're taking action because we believe we have a belief, which means then we believe action is the thing that's going to bring us the stuff. And this is not to say that I am supporting a reality where you just sit and do nothing. But if you find yourself led, inspired to do anything, just know that it is a part, kind of like the connecting dots, looking backward, looking forward, right? You're just seeing that it doesn't matter if I send the email or if I don't send the email, I make the call, I don't make the call. It's more about what I believe about myself and the assumptions I have about that. That's going to mean that's actually going to do anything. So if I'm living in the end of being wealthy, my inspirations, ideas are going to be far more fruitful than someone identifying as not being wealthy, believing I have to take action to become wealthy. Does that make sense? Did that make sense at all, what I just said? That might be a little complicated, and I'm not sure I could say it again just as well, but I hope you guys got that. If it did, just say yes or got it or something in the chat, whether you're on Instagram, YouTube, or Facebook. Okay, so that's it. That's all she wrote. I do have a client in 13 minutes, one-on-one. So I just want to say again, remember, I'm going to go ahead and scroll up and just add this to the broadcast again about the webinar, bryndrescher.com/webinar. Thank you guys so much for everything, for all of your willingness to be here, to rock with me, to ask me questions. And okay, good. It made sense to you, Ricarte. Hopefully anyone over on Instagram, it made sense to. But I appreciate all of you for just spending any time with me, and that I got a chance to share something what lights me up that gave you some light today. So I'm glad Facebook promoted you. Oh, good. I'm glad they did too, Ricarte. So make sure you're following me. Maybe put your notifications on, because I'm going to work on announcing these lives in advance more. But in the event that I say that and I don't actually do that part, put your notifications on, so if you happen to be available, you could just jump in. All right? So I will see you soon. Have a great rest of your Thursday. And just remember, you already are inside of you everything you need to realize everything you've ever desired within your heart. And so just make that shift, make that decision to be the version of yourself that hath, right? Pray believing that you hath, and it shall be given unto you. And you're giving that reality your attention, your focus, your awareness. And instead of trying to get anything, because you're not waiting on anything, because it's waiting on you to be one with it. Okay? All right, that's it. That's all. There ain't no more. Have a fantastic day, and I will see all of you the next time I have the privilege of going live. Bye.